And so we've begun the second Sunday of Lent. Before you know it, it'll soon be Holy Week and Easter Sunday will be here. This period of time, we are reminded that our lives, we are on a journey during Lent. Jesus takes us on a journey from the northernmost part of Palestine all the way down to Jerusalem. It's his final journey. It is his journey, and he knows the end of his journey. He will suffer and die, but he will rise again. And then he goes up the mountain on the way. And Luke, as was well versed by St. Paul, for St. Paul was a convert, he knows that a mountain is a sacred place. It was the place of Moses where the covenant was given. It is a place where you walk to pray when everything else fails. And so Jesus raised Peter, James and John, his three favourite disciples, and took them up the mountain. And the disciples were kind of tired in their journey, and Jesus kneels down and begins to pray. And I'm sure he prays and prays asking his Father, what does it all mean? It's an intimacy shared. And then suddenly something happens, and his face shines like the sun, as Moses did when he received the covenant 2,000 years before on Mount Sinai. And his garments are turned to brilliant light, and it seems to be all through him that he is the light of God's truth, the light of God's hope for the human race. And they see Jesus. And not only do they see Jesus, but they see Moses, the promise of the covenant, the beginning of the people of God, who promised one day that the Messiah would come, and one day the Messiah would teach them all things. And also Elijah the prophet, who never wrote a word down, but is probably the greatest prophet in the Old Testament, who constantly came to a people running away from their responsibilities to the covenant and bringing them back to where they belonged as children of God. It is a journey that when we embrace Jesus in faith, we walk with him on his way to Jerusalem. We walk with him through life, leading us safely home to his Father's kingdom. But along the way, there will be many very difficult circumstances to come up with, many troubles, many things that must be overcome. And we must then remember the brilliance of Jesus, who is almost speaking from another world, telling us, do not be afraid, I have passed through all these things, and I will tell you there is nothing but light, there is nothing but joy, there is nothing but a transcendence, a transfigured world, and you will make it possible if only your faith would hold out. Like these apostles, we too must remain spiritually awake this season in order to experience God's glory. If we must behold the glory of God revealed in Jesus Christ, we too must be ready to make a sacrifice. The Lenten season offers us the opportunity to make sacrifices. It prepares us for the future glory through prayers, good works, reflections and self-denials. It is a time when we grow in grace in order to advance faithfully to the mountain of God's glory. This season we must be spiritually attentive in order to know what Christ wishes to communicate to us through his Paschal mystery. If we understand it, we will be better positioned to partake in the glory of his resurrection. In order to achieve this, Paul advised us to remain faithful in the Lord Jesus Christ, because he is our light and our help.